Hello, Ray Phoenix here. Welcome to Let's Play Spyro the Dragon Part 19. They're finally taking on the Nork Cove, which is the first level in Nasty Nork's world. Nasty Nork's world only has 2 real levels, and then it's time to face off with Nasty Nork, the final boss of this game. And this is where the game really starts to, it doesn't play easy on us anymore. It really starts to throw everything it has at us. It starts to, the enemies become a lot more aggressive, and they resort to guerrilla warfare-like tactics so they could kill Spyro by any means necessary. These levels are challenging, but not for the same reason the other levels in this game were challenging. The other levels in this game were challenging because it was all about finding the gems, locating the gems, and trying to find the dragons and all the other hidden goodies that are hidden throughout this game. These levels are more about survival, trying to not get killed by these overly aggressive enemies with their overly aggressive high-tech weaponry. They have so much firepower to throw at us, so many weapons, they have more than enough to kill Arnold Schwarzenegger easily. But where's Spyro the Dragon? Spyro still has his 2 weapons, which is his ability to charge and his flame breath. He's going on against some overly aggressive enemies that are very large. You think some of the adult dragons that Spyro has rescued throughout the course of this game be enough to help Spyro or bail him out of this, but nope, Spyro is still doing this all by himself. It's pretty much obligatory in these games. The last level of the last world or last levels of these games involve the main hero going to the main villain's factory, fortress, or whatever you call it, so they can take on the main villain and kill him and finally, end the conflict that's been going on throughout the course of this game. And Spyro is obviously no exception to that. We're probably see at some sort of cove, and the next level we're actually at a downright harbor. This looks like a harbor or some sort of docking section. And we rescue a dragon we've already rescued before. Yep, another dragon that was frozen at the beginning of the game. And he was frozen again and brought to Nasty Nork's place. Nasty Nork must have a thing for these dragons specifically, because why would he freeze them more than once? He doesn't do up every dragon in this game. He only did it with those particular dragons. Must have something against them. I wonder if his magic stops him from freezing Spyro. Or maybe his magic doesn't work on kid dragons, because Spyro is supposed to be a kid dragon, I think. Maybe his magic doesn't work on those kinds of dragons. Or maybe he feels like, oh, he's Spyro, he's just a kid dragon. There's no way he could, there's no way he's gonna save his world, kind of. Kind of like what Dr. Wily thought of Mega Man, where he thought, that's just some helper robot, no special abilities. He's useless, but he's not going to get built into a super battle robot, which is how, Mega Man became Mega Man. And the last levels in the Mega Man games always involve going to some demonic world where there's so many bizarre enemies that really go really overly aggressive towards Mega Man. And Spyro is doing that very same thing. I never actually made it to the last few levels of the original Crash Bandicoot, but I can't imagine. I actually think I can't imagine how challenging they must be. Because I remember the original Crash Bandicoot was a very challenging game. I never really liked that one that much when I was a kid for that very reason. I thought it was way too challenging. Crash Bandicoot games in general are pretty challenging. That's part of the reason why I always liked Spyro more. Spyro was always a lot more relaxed and more, you don't have to stay on your feet all the time to enjoy Spyro. And Spyro has a lot of breather sections where it's just, oh, okay, what do I get? You're running around looking for the last gems and trying to find where the last gems and dragons are in this game. Of course, these levels are still going to have a large assortment of gems and dragons. Of course, there's no fees of eggs anymore because you already captured all the fees of eggs, and there's nothing else in place of these levels. So we're just left having to run around and find the gems. It's really easy to actually find the gems in these levels. I think I actually got these levels 100% complete, or mostly 100% complete when I first played them, or one of the first times I played them back in 2011 when I was supposedly inferior to how I am now with gaming. I still like to throw 1-ups at us. This game is very generous with 1-ups. Even in the last levels, they're generous with 1-ups. I don't know, maybe Nasty Nork secretly wants Spyro to win. Maybe it's part of a publicity stunt on Nasty Nork's part. Or maybe Nasty Nork wants Spyro to get some sort of a, what do you call it, like a false sense of confidence or something. That Spyro feels very confident, which may lead to him getting more cocky, and then he might end up meeting his ultimate doom at the hands of Nasty Nork. To Nasty Nork, he looked like an awesome picture. He killed Spyro, not just some random enemy schmuck that he has working for him. No, it's Nasty Nork himself. Spyro being dead at the hands of Nasty Nork. There actually is something kind of oddly symbolic about that. Seeing the main hero fall at the hands of the main villain of the game. It would actually make for an awesome painting, I think, like an awesome, picture of something. I kind of thought that too when I was playing the original Ape Escape, but when I was playing the original Ape Escape and seeing Spike fail at the hands of Spectre. But of course, Spike defeated Spectre, obviously. I know that way too well. I've played Ape Escape a lot as a kid. along with all these other PS1 games. I had tons of PS1 games as a kid, and I still have a lot today. Well, it wasn't until like 2007 when I started collecting PS1 games. Before that, I mostly just had demos for them, which clearly, I mean, they were always advertised. Well, we could get a lot of great demos for less than the cost of a new game. Yeah, but those guys clearly don't know about quantity over quality. It's better to have one really good game than a lot of demos for games. At least that's what I think, at least. But I did have a lot of demos. Pretty much everything I had back in those days were demos, and I didn't even know where I could find the full games a lot of the time, because that was around the time a lot of stores stopped selling PS1 games. Some people thought it may have been impossible for me to find them, but of course those people obviously didn't know about eBay. Well, eBay is where everyone bought stuff back then. I used to buy stuff on eBay all the time. Kind of lost interest in it in recent years, but I used to buy stuff a lot there, especially when I realized that a game store I would go to would have BS prices. It's on things like sell the games for way more than they should have ever costed. And since that's why I turned to eBay a lot of time. And eBay was my only way I could really find stuff, especially because the emulators I had back at the time were not really that good. That's especially because to this day, I still haven't been able to emulate all the Star Wars games for the N64. So I pretty much have to play those on the actual N64. I remember one person said about Spyro the Dragon that games like these make the N64 jealous. You can see why the N64 failed. It didn't have Spyro. It didn't have anything like Spyro on it or anything similar to it. It technically did. It had Banjo-Kazooie, but surely Spyro is a lot more popular and a lot better liked than Banjo-Kazooie. Spyro is a simple, cut to the chase, straightforward. They're straightforward, find and collect stuff and fight enemies. So Banjo-Kazooie is very much kind of like what a Zelda game is. Then again, a lot of people like Zelda games, so it's actually not really. It's actually pretty. I mean, it's good in its own way, pretty much. But I just like Spyro more. I always liked Spyro more. Spyro was always one of my favorites as a kid. It still is my favorite to this day. I remember everyone I knew loved him. I had a cousin from a side of the family I never see anymore that absolutely loved Spyro. She's like, oh, I love Spyro. It's like one of the greatest things ever. I remember having a sticker book one time when I was a kid of like Spyro stickers, and it was like, oh, it's like stickers of Spyro the dragon. I remember having a plastic Tupperware dragon, and then I got it was made by Tupperware. I think the same company makes the plastic Tupperware we all know of, and I actually had a toy dragon that could be taken apart. It was obviously a baby toy, but I recognized it as being a purple dragon, so I obviously named it Spyro, and I would always call it Spyro all the time. That's how Spyro stood out to me as a kid. It's a name I recognized, the name that should have gone down in history, make it more recognizable than Mickey Mouse, or even some of those other figures that people are very familiar with. A lot more people know about Spyro than, I don't know, people from the Bible, maybe. Well, Spyro was big all over the world, or at least except for in Japan, but he was big in North America and Europe. 94% complete. There, we got this whole game 94% complete. We have this level 100% complete too, because there isn't really much to get 100% complete in this level. So it's just a matter now of just running back to where the exit of that level is. It will be easier. You know, one thing a Banjo-Kazooie actually did right in those games was that they have warp, so you can warp to parts of the level without having to walk all the way through them. Spyro should have done something like that, so you don't have to run all the way back and forth through levels just to find stuff. That really does eat up a lot of time when playing this game, by running back and forth. They should have done something like that. And Banjo-Kazooie came out the same year as this game too, 1998, so I guess these games are kind of like competitors of each other. Like dueling game systems, dueling games or competing games. Like a Crash Bandicoot was considered to be the competitor for Super Mario 64, and I like Super Mario 64 a lot more than Crash Bandicoot. But I like to see Crash Bandicoot sequels more than Mario 64. The sequels are definitely better. So we've cleared the first level of the North Cove, so the next level is going to be unlocked, which is Twilight Harbor. That's right, we're going to a harbor at twilight. It makes me think of the color scheme makes you think of, you know, if you're driving down the road late at night or late in the evening, you see the red skyline. It also kind of like that cliche, it's also red sky, kind of like that cliche I do in a lot of my works, where when the main characters and main heroes go back to their world and it's been invaded or taken over by evil enemies. And it's always a cliche that either a red sky or an orange sky, which indicates that, oh, the bad guys have won, the bad guys rule this place, it's under evil control or something like that. It's always an orange sky. It's kind of what an orange sky kind of means in that context. I've used that in a lot of things, and I think that I kind of got it from these games. Like Spyro is doing it right now. I remember the original Ape Escape had that too, where one of the last levels of this game is an orange sky in the factory level, and playing the factory made the sky unbreathable, or made the air of the planet unbreathable, or something like that. But of course, it's going to return to normal once we clear out the evil forces or defeat the forces of evil, and Spyro could, go back to his vacation. I know Spyro probably does want a vacation after everything he's been through, this incredible adventure, this death-defying risk he's going on. This level almost becomes like one of those arcade games, kind of like that game Russian Attack, that Konami arcade game. You're going after people with machine guns, with like semi-automatic rifles and heat-seeking missiles. You get hit once, you're dead. It might as well be get hit once and you're dead, because you're gonna get hit a lot. And Spyro barely has an invincibility buffer in this game too. You're gonna constantly get hit so many times as you might as well just have it be one hit and you're dead, or very little margin of error, where there's like little to no. I've been playing a lot of games lately that have no margin of error. I wonder if some like extra, what do you call it, like some supernatural force has taken over my video games and made them so it's like you got if you make one mistake, it's game over. Because I know the final boss in Ratchet & Clank Size Matters is like that, and Secret Agent Clank seems to be a lot like that too. I don't remember those games being like that. I don't think if Secret Agent Clank really was as it always was, supposedly, I don't think I would have had fond memories of it. But I did have fond memories of it, and yet most of my fond memories of that game are even from the Secret Agent Clank part at all. Most of it's just from me playing as Ratchet, where you go to like Smash TV style levels where you have to just blast down enemies. And then there's parts where you play as Captain Quark as well too. I thought those parts are pretty cool. So let's rescue some more dragons. I think that's almost every dragon in this game. We're just gonna get every dragon in this game rescued by the end of this video, I think. There are very many left. Look at that. They just keep going. Machine guns ablaze. And look at those machine gun bullets they used to. They look like little triangles. They look like nacho chips or something. Like that, like little tortilla chips. They're shooting them. Tortilla chips are an underrated weapon, actually. I've cut my gums on those a lot of times. They're very sharp. It's easy to cut your gums on them. Or cut your tongue. It reminds me of that time in 2015 when I burned the top of my mouth and I burned the outer layer of flesh off the top of my mouth on that cheese sauce that Taco Bell gives at their nachos. I remember burning it. It was quite a surprise too, because that cheese sauce is hot, but it's never usually that hot that it burns your mouth. And it was even worse. I do cut my mouth on those things quite a bit. I wouldn't know. I don't really get those that much anymore, mostly because I don't really go to Taco Bell that much anymore. When I do go to Taco Bell, I pretty much never get those. I don't even know if they still have those anymore. I don't really get meals at Taco Bell very much. So I don't even know. There aren't even any Taco Bells nearby me anymore, actually. This is the biggest challenge of this entire level, are these Norks, these like Rambo Norks, these Norks that go pretty much Rambo on you. You pretty much need them to be Rambo if you want to expect to seriously destroy everything in this level and get through this level in one piece. I bet there's people that managed to get through this whole level without taking a single hit. There's always someone that can play through games without taking a single hit. That would be considered an achievement. You could be like I remember the PS3 and Xbox 360 had these achievement things you can unlock. And the later Spyro games too, and the PS1 kind of had that. They called them skill points, and that's exactly what they're like. They're like achievements, and they were hidden in the game, never mentioned anywhere else. You don't even know you get them a lot of the time. You don't even know they are skill points. And that carried over to the Ratchet and Clank games as well too. Most of the pretty much every skill point I have in those games is something that was given to me unintentionally, just as a result of playing the game and putting my mad gaming skills to the test. Which is what this level forces us to do. You're also running on narrow passageways, and you fall into that water. Well, Spyro can't swim. All water in this game is toxic, pretty much, because Spyro can't swim. Kind of like what that guy used to watch a long time ago. His name, Ulili, or whatever his name was. Yeah, he theorized about two types of water: blue water and white water. White water is the kind of water we drink, bathe, and shower with, while blue water is the kind of water where if you fall into it, you drown. It's the kind of water you see in lakes or swimming pools, maybe. And then there's green water. I never discussed green water. I remember I went to a lake a long time ago that was filled with green water. That was some stupid camping trip I went on way back in 2007 where they had a green water lake. I used to just think advertised as being a thing of beauty. Look at our lake. It's green and sparkly. Yeah, I think I know how they got it to look like that. It's probably because of all the toxic sludge they throw into the lake. I'm glad I never went into that lake. No wonder why our kids are gonna have 3 eyes or 4 arms or something like that. There's free-eyed fish that hang out in there. It's almost like it's almost like if Mr. Burns opened up a lake resort or something like that. We were talking about Mr. Burns once to a friend of my mom's, and then she's like, "Who's Mr. Burns?" Well, you didn't watch The Simpsons before? You don't know who Mr. Burns is? And she's like, "No, I have no idea what that is." She doesn't even know much about The Simpsons. Then again, I've had friends that don't know much about The Simpsons or never really watched Simpsons that much before, so I guess that's fair. I mean, I probably think the same if I never watched The Simpsons, but I do watch The Simpsons. I've been watching that show since 2003. I've seen most episodes from the good old days of the show, the pre-Simpsons movie era. I don't really follow the show much anymore. I actually did watch a modern episode of Simpsons recently. When it came on a local TV channel, it was like New Simpsons, and I thought, good God. I mean, it wasn't like garbage. I wouldn't call it garbage. There's way worse stuff in the world of animation than modern Simpsons, but it wasn't that good. It wasn't that good compared to classic Simpsons, what original Simpsons is supposed to be. But still far from any of the worst stuff imaginable. So I think we've got this level 100% complete now, so the real challenge is trying to run to where the exit is. Yep, there's the exit. There's the goalpost of the level. We're just going to count up all our treasure and everything we've collected. And then after this is when we're going to be taking on Nasty Nork, the epic, monumental conclusion we've been waiting for since the first video in this series. This is Ray Phoenix signing out.